Hi, thank you for joining me. If you're new here, welcome. If you've seen me before, thank you so much for coming back again. This is a really important topic today. I want to talk about how anger in a relationship is bringing you both down. So if you've had to put up with or relate to anger in your relationship and you're suffering, it's hurting you, it's hurting them, and you want to know what to do, I'm taking a new angle. So I'm an energy practitioner, an energy psychologist, and an energy medicine worker. And I can see energy. I have done for all of my life. And when we look at energy, it gives us another tool to help us through some of the common challenges. And I know that many of us have been suffering with anger in a relationship, and it's really hard to cope with, particularly during the lockdown period when we've been stuck in each other's company, living out of each other's pockets. So if you have a relationship either at home or at work where anger is a key player and it's hurting you, then this video or series of videos is for you. It might be a long one today, so please stay with me. I'm going to share a couple of techniques, which might be separate videos, I think. So I want to share some energy techniques which will help boost your energetic system so you don't follow the same habitual path when your partner is angry. I'll explain more about that. So I'm going to boost your energy so you feel safe, resilient, and more like yourself, in touch with your wisdom. Then I also want to share an energy routine that will help release the emotions that you're feeling, release the energy that comes up for you when you face anger, so you can clear away the debris of the day and have a healthy night's sleep, because you need to look after you if you're facing repeat anger. So let me ask you some questions. Are you in a relationship where your partner is continually angry? How does that make you feel? Is it getting worse? And does your anger, when your partner becomes angry, do you fall into a similar pattern? So in other words, do you experience a kind of habitual emotion that is triggered by the anger response? So think about that. Is it getting worse? Do you fall into a similar pattern? Do you know why that anger is triggering you? I want to answer all of those questions from an energetic point of view, because we can't help the person who is angry apart from by helping ourselves first. So often our go-to with psychology is that we help the angry partner. Actually, we all have a role to play. In energy, we are all connected. Our energetic body goes out 3 feet, 6 feet, 10 feet, depending how good, healthy, expansive you're feeling. When you're triggered by anger, your energy field will be impacted by that anger. So I'm going to talk about what anger looks like from the person who is being angry. I'm going to talk about how that entangles and meshes with your energy, and also how your response will be probably triggering that person's anger. So if you've noticed things getting worse, it's because the way you respond to that anger is almost like a codependency. Their anger triggers something that they need and something that you respond to, and your pattern of response is reinforcing their anger. All of that might sound a bit abstract, so bear with me. I want to share with you something from Dr. David Hawkins' Levels of Consciousness. And I'll show you how anger, the vibration of anger, the vibration of, and energy of anger links into other emotions that you might be experiencing. And your emotions are supporting that anger. They're kind of fueling it. They're keeping it going. So let me explain more, and I'll take you to a chart. So bear with me while we do this. Okay, so I hope you can see this chart. I hope you can see this, and I hope it's not too busy, but it does take some explaining, but it's really helpful. It will help you in so many ways. I've still got myself on the screen if you need to see me. I don't know why you would, but I'm still here. So this is Dr. David Hawkins' map of consciousness. And you can see a big red bar. I was going to point to it, but that doesn't help you. A big red bar that shows the level of anger. So down that level of consciousness column, you can see all sorts of emotions. or levels of consciousness that you will recognize. Anger is a state of consciousness, and it's vibrating at an energetic scale of 150. It's one of the higher vibrations of the more negative emotions. So pride is seen as negative, and that's 175. Below that is anger. But you can see there that anger is a high vibration. So before I carry on, let me explain what anger looks like. When someone is in that conscious state of anger, their energy is bubbling upwards. It's like heat rising. So often when you're angry, you'll see a red face, you'll feel hot, your cheeks will glow, you might start to sweat because the energy is rising. And your energy is meant to go in two beautiful flowing directions, from the heavens, through your crown, through your body to the earth, from the earth up your body and out to the heavens. When you're in a state of anger, your energy is getting stuck. There is a bottleneck of your neck and your anger is bubbling up, getting stuck here. You're venting it through your mouth. Words and thoughts are swirling in your head, angry, antagonistic, hateful, nasty. You're doing things to hurt the other person, not through an intention necessarily to hurt the other person, but just because your energy is so stuck up here, you don't know how to get out of it. So it's a very volatile state, and you're literally just lashing out, not truly aware of what you're saying or doing or how you're hurting the other people or person in the room. So anger is that high state of emotion, and that's what it looks like. We all have this energy field, and when you're in the presence of someone who's angry, their angry energy is interacting with yours. It's always interacting, but their anger will be latching in to something in your energy field that is responding. What do I mean by that? So let's take you back to your childhood. Let's go back to your experience of anger as a child, because that's when your pattern of response to anger will have been set. And I'm leaving this chart up here because I want to talk about the emotions underneath anger. So when you experienced anger as a child, if your parents were cross at you, your siblings were fighting with you, whatever the experience, you will have chosen a state that felt comfortable, that made you feel safe in the moment. There will have been a benefit to the emotion you were feeling. Some people, when they are confronted by anger, their stress response is triggered and they will meet it with the fight response. Anger meets anger, two explosive energies coming together. You're angry, I'm going to show you some of your own medicine. I hate you, you hate me. Let's get aggressive, let's be antagonistic. And that really fuels the flame. You are both just growing your anger, saying worse and worse things to each other, maybe getting abusive. So you can see in that situation how anger, it will be inflamed by your partner's anger. You'll both be growing that flame of anger. So that's not very helpful. And if you started off maybe in a neutral place, you can see there from the chart that neutral is vibrating at a level of 250. You're coming down the consciousness scale. And all of those lower emotions, your emotions suffer, your IQ drops, your body is suffering. When you're in those negative emotions, it drains power from you. And please note this is a myth I want to dispel. It's not the other person's anger that's draining you, it's your response to anger. So if you fight anger with anger, you are draining yourself. So this is where it's important to underline, we need to take responsibility for our own emotion. Because when we meet anger with anger or anger with a lower emotion, we are only fueling the fire. We are only lowering our vibration and lowering the vibration of our partner. Neither of those things will help. So let me talk about another response you might have had to anger. Oftentimes it's fear. This is one that I have myself. I had 4 older brothers. There was lots of testosterone, lots of anger, lots of fighting in our family. I was the youngest. and the only girl. And my response was fear, to withdraw. I was scared. I felt for my physical safety, so I'd take myself away. I was very, very frightened. And that, you can see here on the scale, drop down a couple of rows from anger through desire to fear, is only a vibration of 100. And your angry partner may have experienced this same dynamic in his childhood. If he was angry, maybe he was a bully at school, maybe he needed to overcome his own fear, so he just got more and more angry. But when he latches into fear, that's his habitual pattern. So if your pattern is fear response to anger, and his habitual pattern is to be angry to excite fear, you are also fanning his flames. He wants you to be fearful, not consciously. Remember, none of this is conscious. Your emotions when you're in a state of anger are coming from a deeper subconscious level. You're probably not aware of what's triggered you or what's fueling the anger to continue. So if you drop into a state of fear, and that's what he or she has always been used to, then actually you're fueling that habit, you're keeping it going, you're reinforcing it. So you're trying to take yourself away, you're trying to protect yourself either verbally or physically. You're still repeating the pattern, reinforcing the pattern. So again, let's go to another one of these, just one more example, but hopefully you can start to see how energy needs to be met at a higher level to break the pattern, to shift the response. So if your response, let's say it's guilt. Often as a kid, if someone's angry, your initial response might be guilt, because the parental anger might excite guilt because you know you've done the naughty thing. You know that you've had a rule, you've had a boundary, you've crossed it, but you don't want to admit it. You want to be the good girl or the good boy. So your response to anger might be towards guilt. And all of this is suppressed. We probably don't make a record when we're a kid of our response to anger, but underneath your response right now to your partner's anger is likely to be one of these emotions. If you feel like you're suffering, if you recognize fear, grief, apathy, guilt, or shame as an underlying emotion when your partner is angry, so take yourself now to a memory of your partner being angry. Feel that experience, see it in your head. And if you need to find a calm space, do that lovely energy medicine technique where you put the heels of your palms to your cheekbones and you put your hands across your head, crossing your fingers, and just take yourself to that memory and ask yourself, what emotion am I feeling? Why am I feeling that? How is it serving me? How is it serving me as a child? Was I fearful? Did it encourage me to take myself out of the situation? Did that help me in the moment? And as you do this hold, you come into your own sense of space. You come into your own wisdom. You're taking away the negative charge. So just stop and observe yourself in that remote distance from the actual anger in the moment. Recall that anger and know that you're safe, and ask yourself, what emotion am I feeling? Why am I feeling it? How is it serving me? How did it serve me as a child? And understand yourself. And know that that's just your ego, your childlike self that was hurt in the moment. And know that that response is holding you back from joy in the moment. And that's really important. When we hold on to these emotions, this habitual pattern of response to anger, it's in your subconscious. You are not conscious of it. You've suppressed it because you don't want to feel guilt or grief or fear. You've either done it consciously or unconsciously, or you've ignored it. You've done other things to kind of keep yourself busy, to distract yourself from these emotions. Now is the time to face that emotion. And right now, I'll point you back to one of my earlier videos, something called Soul. It's a wonderful exercise that will help you stop, S-O, observe, U, understand, L, act from love, think from love, change your response, change your conscious state. So use that soul technique. So go back to that video. I won't repeat it again. The video is already very detailed, and use that to understand yourself and choose a higher response, because all of these lower emotions are negative. And what happens in your body is literally the energy in your muscles drops by 50%. So you'll feel you're losing your power. You'll feel like you're not yourself. And if you keep holding on to that, you'll lose sleep, you'll get sick, your immune system will be lowered. So I'm keeping this chart up here again to point to some of those higher levels of consciousness. So anger is there at 150. I've highlighted courage at 200 because that's the average level of consciousness of the entire population in the whole world. So we're on average, human beings have this level of 200, higher than anger. And you can see that that level is vibrating at a higher frequency. It's where you have the courage to do something different. You feel that you've got this. You're empowered to make a difference. It's affirmative. Life is feasible. Life is okay. You can handle it. And from that higher place, you're in a much stronger position to deal with anger. And you could remember that that's your standard offset. That's where you might normally be. So instead of feeling a lower emotion where you're empowering your angry partner, where you're causing suffering for yourself, you can sit with that lower emotion, acknowledge it. Take an example. I'm fearful. I'm scared. This is frightening me. I hate what you're saying. I hate the loud voice. I feel threatened. But you can ask yourself, is that fear serving you right now? And I'm not talking about right now in the angry place. I'm talking about in your moment of recall. Does that fear serve you? Well, obviously not, because it's been encouraging your partner to keep being more angry because it's keying into his habitual need. So whatever your response is, if you're seeing an increase in the frequency of your partner's anger, it's not your fault. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying that your habitual response to their anger is reinforcing those moments of anger. It's making it happen more frequently. I know this is complicated, so please stay with me. You are doing so well if you're still here with me, and maybe you need to replay this. So acknowledge that lower emotion. Know that it's not serving you. Know that it felt good, it felt comfortable at one point in your life, but it's okay to feel it. It's okay to acknowledge it. And it's okay to just let it go. It's okay to choose from wisdom a new level of consciousness. It's okay to get back to your old self, to where you habitually are, whether it's courage, neutrality, willingness, acceptance, or even reason. And I've highlighted reason, the green bar there, at the energy scale of 400, because those of us who are lucky to be in the first world, a more developed world where we get higher education and we live in a stable economy on the whole and a political stability where we don't have war or we're not worrying about food on the table, we are in a higher state, a higher vibration of reason. And that brings with it understanding, ability to find meaning from the anger, ability to understand ourselves, ability to take a step back and understand and come from a place of love and compassion. So you can see here, if we can let go of the negative emotion, those below 200, and shift back to a state of being neutral or willing or accepting, or a state of reason, or even a state of true unconditional love, that we can understand ourselves, we can let go of the lower emotion, and we can stop triggering or reinforcing our partner. We can't help our partner, but when we're in a state of love or courage or any of those higher emotions, we are bringing a state of calm to ourselves. And this is where energy is so important, because when you're in a state of calm, actually I'll flick out of this for now. I think we've seen enough of that. We're back here, we can see each other again. I hope you found those levels of consciousness important, but let me just continue what I was saying. When you're in those higher emotions, your energy is calm and flowing down, flowing up. You are grounded, connected to Mother Earth, connected to your heart, connected to your reason. And when you're in that space, and your energy is entangled, and when you're with your partner, your energies are always connected, and you kind of entrain to each other. It's a bit like the stringed instruments in an orchestra. If you pluck a G string on one, the others will resonate, the other G strings will resonate to the same vibration. We sync our vibrations like clocks in a room. If you put a whole load of analog clocks in a room, they'll eventually all start working to the same tick, the same tick-tock. Or you put grandfather clocks in the room, they'll all start chiming at the same time. Women who live in the same house together will have a period at the same time. They'll have the same menstrual cycle. All of that is energetic vibration. When you live with someone, your vibrations in tune to each other. If they're angry and your habitual response is a lower energy, you're bringing your vibrations, your collective vibrations down. If you choose to let go and look after your own energy, your own emotion, understand and come from a place of love, your energy is calm. Your energy is grounded and in flow, and so will theirs. You are allowing them their calm space. You are allowing them to calm down. You're not exciting their anger. You're not leaping to your knee-jerk response, and it allows them to find their own wisdom in their own time. And it allows you to stop suffering. So I think I'm going to stop there. There are a whole load of psychological responses to anger, but when we understand how energy works and how their anger lowers our vibration, when we take control of our own vibration and lift it back up, they have a chance to lift up too. So I hope you understand that. I hope you can see that coming from love, as opposed to dropping your own energy, is the only way to break that angry pattern. Look after you so they can follow your suit, so they can find their calm. And please stay with me. I'm going to stop this here, and I'm going to share those other energy medicine routines in separate videos. Thank you so much for watching. Anger in a relationship is so destructive for you and for your angry partner. So please share this. Please show me some love, show this some love, show my channel some love, because I know this is something that thousands, millions of us are suffering from. So please help the algorithm to share this. It's so important. Thank you for staying with me. Thank you for lifting the consciousness of the world. That's why we're all here. Thanks, guys.